I can guarantee you guys that Alireza Firouzja is going to become the future world chess champion. And I can guarantee you so by discussing a game played between Alireza Firouzja versus Vladimir Fedosiev from the Champions Chess Tour Julius Baer Generation Cup 2024. It's a rapid tournament, I would say 10 minutes plus 2 second increment. And the way Alireza Firouzja played this game shows his potential to become the future world chess champion, or I can say the next Magnus. So I don't want to waste any words. I just want to show you this game because you are going to learn a lot from this game. So let's start. So Alireza Firouzja is playing with the white pieces and he opens the game with 1d4. It's a very critical video for everyone who plays 1d4 opening. We have d5, c4, c6, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3. We have the queen's gambit. We have the Slav, e6, bishop g5, knight bd7, e3, and now we have queen f5. This opening is also known as the Cambridge Spring opening, and it is one of the opening that I have recommended you to play with the black pieces. And now after queen f5, the best way to get something out of this position is to take on d5, which exactly Alireza Firouzja did. Knight into pawn. And now if you try to capture with the e or the c pawn, I would say let's take with the e pawn. Now this position is already slightly better for white because the queen generally belongs to d8. And now as the queen is on a5, the queen is kind of misplaced on a5, which gives already slight advantage to white. Now white can easily continue the game with bishop d3 short castle, and basically black has wasted one move. I would say two because the queen have to go back. So yeah, you can't really take with the e pawn, and if you take with the c pawn, now once again the queen is kind of misplaced on a5, and I can happily continue with bishop d3, short castle, and rook c1, and white is just better. So that's why you have to take with the knight. That's the best move. And now we have queen to d2, protecting the knight. Bishop to b4, triple attack. We have to play rook c1, and now we have h6, attacking the bishop and getting rid of some back rank issues in the future. Bishop h4, we have short castle, and now Alireza played the move a3, attacking the bishop. You have to take now, because if you try to go back with bishop d6, now it's already bad. You have played bishop b4, now you are going bishop d6. It's already good after bishop e2 short castle. You can even play e4 in the future, and white is just better. So you have to take, and now Vladimir played knight d2 f6. If he goes for capturing on a3, white can play e4, knight to f6, bishop d3, b5, because after bishop d3 I don't see any good move from the black side. So b5, maybe just trying to expand on the queen side can be an idea. Short castle, and now if black plays a random move like bishop b7, rook a1 simply traps the queen. If you go back with the queen, e5, and your position is completely collapsing. g5 is not really working up because bishop g5 takes queen g5. I can take over here, king h8, queen h6 check, king move. The game is completely over, I would say. So yeah, okay, after short castle, if black plays rook e8, then after king h1, a very good move and a very innovative move, I would say. Queen f8, making the square for the queen was the whole idea of rook e8. And now white is having a very strong move, which is g4. And after g4, if you try to capture over here, rook g1. If you don't capture, g5 is extremely strong. Takes rook g1 now, and now h3 is coming all along. So like f5, h3. And now if you take over here, this is good for white. This is hanging, this is hanging. It's already winning for white, I would say. And if the knight goes back, simply queen h6, you can't capture because the pawn is pinned and the position is completely winning for white. So yeah, that's exactly what happens if the opponent takes on a3. So yeah, we have knight to f6, now bishop d3 by Alireza, b6. So the idea is to play bishop a6, trading off the bishops because white is having the bishop pair. So black wants to get rid of it. So now we have e4 at the place of doing a short castle. First e4, bishop a6, now we have c4, not trading off the bishop pair. So one good move, we can see that Alireza is trying to keep the bishop pair, having a good center, and now we have queen into d2, going into an endgame. If queen a3, it's already bad after short castle. White is having a strong center, rook a1 is coming up. I would say e5 is also coming up. The position is already busted for black. So that's why we have queen d2, king d2, and now from this moment we are going to see the masterclass played by Alireza. King d2, now we have rook e8, developing the rook, e5, kicking the knight, and now we have bishop e4, putting the bishop at a nice square, at a nice diagonal, attacking the c6 pawn. You can't move the pawn because the rook is also hanging. So we have rook c8, and now we have g4, attacking the knight, knight f4, and now we have bishop g3, attacking the knight once again. You can't play king e3 because after knight g2 you lose the bishop. So though the knight is protecting the bishop, but that's I guess losing. You have to move the king somewhere, and knight h4 takes, and now c5 is already winning for black. So yeah, bishop g3 simply attacks the knight. The knight have to go back, and now you have rook h to e1, bringing the final piece into the game. c5, we have d5, takes, takes. So this was the whole idea. The idea of whole rook h e1 was to get like c5, d5, takes. And now the whole idea here is you can't really take on e5, because if you do so, after takes, bishop h7 check, and now you got the idea why white played rook h to e1, because now the rook is hanging, white is an exchange up with a completely winning position. So that's why we had rook c to d8, keeping getting the rook at the same file as the king. So Alireza simply moved the king, bishop b7, and now we have a4, a very strong positional understanding move. Black's idea could have been to play b5, grabbing some space on the queen side, trying to generate some play, but after a4 it simply blocks everything. And now we have knight f8, rook c to d1. Now white's position is completely I would say a very good position. Knight e7, pawn push. Now finally Alireza decided to trade one pair of the bishops. Knight c6, knight to h4. After knight over here, black's idea could be to play f6. So Alireza realized that the f2 pawn belongs on f4, so it's a good idea to play knight h4 so that he can put his knight to f5 followed by f4. So we have f6, f4, takes, rook e6, king to c4, with the idea of king d5 coming up. So we have rook to e8, knight to f5, and now if you try to capture on e5, it's already a bad move. After bishop takes, white is having this powerful d7, and the queen can't be stopped. You have to give up the knight, and I would say this is completely winning because white is a piece up. So you can't really go for capturing the pawn. So we have knight d7. Now there are 4 attackers, whereas there are only 2 defenders. So now we have rook to e1, and now we have a6. So Alireza has already calculated everything. You can't really take over here because we have king to d5, a very strong move. Now white is preparing to capture the knight. If you move the knight, the rook is hanging. And now if you try to give some checks like knight b4 check, it's not really working. After takes, bishop takes. And now white has received 2 minor pieces for a rook with a strong pawn, which is going to become a soon queen. So it's completely winning position for white. So now we have a6, king to d5 still, knight b4 check. And now, with a strong positional understanding, Alireza decided to sacrifice the rook. Basically an exchange sacrifice. And now we have knight to d4, rook moved, and now we have e6. You have to move the rook or else you're going to lose 2 rooks for the knight. So now we have pawn push, check, but king c6. So basically these 2 pawns are extremely strong pawns, which has a good potential to become the queen. Rook takes the pawn, and now we have d7, which was a blunder by Firouzja. He should have simply played bishop e5, defending the knight. Maybe he simply forgot that his knight was hanging. And after bishop e5, I don't see a good move for black. Pawn push is coming up, which is completely winning. But he played d7, and now Vladimir played rook to d8, which was simply a blunder. He should have went for capturing the knight. Takes. And after bishop e5 though, rook d3 takes. This position is still better for white, and white can even convert this into a win. But this would have been the best. But at the place we have rook d8, bishop e5 now, because Alireza has finally realized that the knight was hanging. And this is completely winning. This is e7 is coming up, king c7 is coming up. So we have knight into d7 takes, pawn push, king to c7, takes. And now white is absolutely having two minor pieces for a, I would watch for, what should I say? Like for the 3 pawns, I guess. 3 pawns, yeah, 3 pawns. So now we have rook b1, rook e4, and after king d6 on the move number 46, Vladimir Fedosiev decided to resign the game against Alireza Firouzja. Because you can't do anything now. You can't really protect the pawn. These 2 pawns are also going to collapse, and eventually the a pawn going to become the queen, and the game is over. So I would say nearly a perfect game played by Alireza Firouzja. Like there was only one moment where he went wrong, which was d7. He should have played bishop e5, and he would have received 100% accuracy. A perfect game played by Alireza Firouzja, which already shows he has improved from the last candidates. He's just improving by each and every game. And now today we are going to see an encounter which has become kind of obvious nowadays, which is between Alireza Firouzja versus Magnus Carlsen. So yeah, it's going to be very much fun, and I'm going to come up with those interesting content. So if you learned anything new today, make sure to like the video, share this video with everyone, and make sure to subscribe to our channel if you are new to our channel. Definitely Alireza is going to become the future world champion. Yeah, so bye bye.